Wow, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is honestly absolutely brilliant. I feel like they dealt with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman so fantastically and just continued this storyline and this world so brilliantly, and also setting up the future in a really, really intriguing way as well. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video, we are going to be reviewing the long-awaited Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is a truly phenomenal sequel to the equally brilliant first Black Panther billion-dollar earning MCU movie. And this film is the 30th MCU entry and also closes off the films from Phase 4 as well. So much riding on this movie. And like I just said, I felt like they dealt and handled and honored the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman really, really well. I feel like they introduced a brand new civilization really, really well. They introduced a bit of a new villain slash anti-hero really, really nicely as well. And also deepened the MCU lore and world and wider storytelling, even though at its heart it is a true sequel. I mean, it's not a perfect Marvel movie. There are a couple of things that they definitely could have done a lot better. For example, the final act of this movie could have been so much stronger and so much more epic, especially as the first two acts of this movie were so epic. But you know, all of that being said, I do feel like this movie is absolutely incredible, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So there are three consecutive storylines going on at the same time in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The first one, of course, is the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman's character of T'Challa, and the way in which everybody in Wakanda is dealing with this, and most importantly, how his family are dealing with this. And you can just feel all of their pain, all of their emotions, all of their grief, as it just comes across so brilliantly. And of course, as the actor very similarly and very tragically passed away as well, I just feel like the entire auditorium is just really with all of these characters, and it just works so well. You're really emotional with all of these different characters, and like I said, I just feel like they handle it really, really nicely. But at the same time, there is a lot going on. So for example, at the end of the first Black Panther movie, obviously Wakanda revealed their location and their identity and vibranium to the entire world, and so they have to deal with the repercussions of this. And of course, the world is the world, so they obviously want to take vibranium at any cost. They're looking for more vibranium potentially being around the world, and just the conflict that this has from a geopolitical point of view. And as well as that, we also get introduced to this brand new civilization that nobody even knew existed, and the war that happens between them and Wakanda, and also where the rest of the world falls into this as well. And I just feel like Namor is just such an incredible character. One of the first original characters being introduced all the way back when Marvel Comics were first ever introduced. So it's really, really great that he is in here. And I just feel like this is the perfect movie to introduce him in. And I just feel like there are so many similarities between Talokan and with Wakanda as well. And I just feel like both of these similarities and differences just play out in this movie really, really well. Now, from a positive point of view, I just feel like this movie is a true spectacle, and Wakanda, returning to Wakanda, is such a joy, as not only does it look absolutely incredible, I just love the attitude of all of the Wakandans, just dealing with the loss while still trying to move forwards, I think is really, really great. And the way in which they just honor Chadwick Boseman is just so nice and really prevalent at the start of this movie and at the end of this movie, and it is just so emotional, so you can't help but shed a few tears. And it's just really respectable the way in which they just handled it all. I thought it was also really, really awesome how we are just introduced to these brand new civilizations. It is a bit of a shame that they're not calling it Atlantis and the Atlanteans, maybe because there is just too similar to the DCEU, Aquaman and Atlantis and all of that sort of stuff. But I think Marvel should have just stepped up to the plate and given into the competition. But anyway, it's renamed into Talokan, and I think their history is really, really interesting. But I would have just wanted so much more from it. But I'll come back to that thought in a minute. But what I have to say is I do feel like it is really, really cool, and it is especially brilliant as well how this whole civilization was just hidden in plain sight this whole entire time, and you do kind of understand why you haven't heard or seen of them before this, and just their impressions of everybody in the surface world. And I just love that, just from a philosophical point of view, in terms of, you know, you have everything in your lower world, and just the way in which you treat people in the surface world, I just think is such interesting social commentary. And this movie definitely feels really grandiose, and it truly is epic in scale, especially all of the wars that ensue, all of the battles that take place, and just what is at cost and what is on the line in this movie is really, really nice. And like I said, it is a true sequel and does continue everything that it had planted at the end of the first Black Panther movie really, really nicely in this movie. However, from a negative point of view, like I touched on a minute ago, I love Talocan and I just wanted to learn so much more about it. I feel like we know and love Wakanda so much and they just could have done so much more with Talocan. It's a really quick, brief understanding of their history and you get to see it a little bit, but they could have really embraced that so much more. And also the final act of this movie, even though the first two acts were just so brilliant, I just feel like it slipped a little bit in the third act as the big battle that is taking place is just on such a small location, which really does make it feel a lot smaller in scale. And it kind of feels like they ran out of money, which I'm sure they didn't, but they just could have done it so much better. I mean, at the same time, there is another battle going on that's a lot more intimate, and that was really, really great, but I just wish the epic scale of the final battle was just so much bigger and better. And there are loads of characters in this movie, and for the most part, they get used really, really well, but a couple of them definitely could have done so much more. But you know, that being said, from a storyline perspective, Black Panther Wakanda Forever was in such a difficult situation with its lead character and lead actor being fully removed, and I have to say, the way in which they dealt with all of this and continued the narrative was really, really effective. So from a cast and characters point of view, the entire cast and creators behind the scenes as well definitely do put their best foot forward and really do respect the difficult situation that they're in, but also tell an incredibly brilliant story in this film. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Letitia Wright, who is just absolutely phenomenal as the Shuri character. She was a little bit of a secondary character in the first Black Panther movie and was a bit of a supporting character to Black Panther and to T'Challa, whereas this time, this movie honestly feels like her movie, and she is just such a great lead in this film. And I was thinking about it, if T'Challa was either recast or did continue on, then Shuri, I think, would have once again been a bit of a secondary character. So I feel like this actress and this character just totally delivered on an incredibly brilliant performance that was really respectable and just continued this movie so well. So for example, you can just feel all of her grief and her loss, and I just feel like she acts her heart out. This character has lost so much and is grieving pretty much across this entire movie, and like I said, you can just feel all of that, and she totally just steps up from not only being a true incredibly intelligent technological wizard, but also just in other ways as well that you'll see in this film. And they really introduced her in the first film from being a really wise character, a really clever character, and that is definitely continued in this movie. And I just love the way in which she's interacting with so many different characters, and family values really do mean a lot to this character, as with all of the other Wakandans as well. And even though this character is dealing with so much loss, I feel like there are some moments of levity, and this character is really funny as well. So I feel like Letitia Wright totally delivered in this movie. Next up we have Angela Bassett, who was equally absolutely formidable as Queen Ramonda. She is put into some extreme situations, for example having to deal with the loss of her son after dealing with the loss of her husband, and now also, like I said, the entire world are after Wakanda, are after Vibranium, and just having to deal with all of that, as well as being a grieving woman and just having to step up to be the ruler of this whole Wakandan area, even though before she was more of a support system to her husband and to her son. So just all of that, you can just really feel all of that through Angela Bassett's incredible performances. I would say some of the extremely incredible moments have been revealed already through all of the trailer footage, but that being said, it is still incredible to see on screen. We're also introduced to Tenoch Huerta, both as actor and the character of Namor, who, like I said earlier on, is such an incredibly pivotal character as far as Marvel Comics history is concerned, and he is just super majestic, such presence. Love the way in which he just comes out of the water and is able to avoid all of the Wakandan technology, the way in which he is just able to use water in such an evil, barbaric way. It looks really, really impressive in animation, and I feel like they translated it into live action really, really nicely, and you also get to understand about his origin storyline, and they also officially reveal and confirm that he really is a mutant, so mutants totally are coming into the MCU, which is just so exciting. Like I also said earlier on, they definitely could have done so much more with explaining a little bit more about his backstory and just really expanding the world of Talocan, as you don't really know any of the other Talocan members apart from Namor. But that being said, he totally brings so much presence to the screen, he brings so much evilness to the screen, so much sinister things to the screen, even if it's just a couple of people on the screen, and also when there's loads of people on the screen, you can just totally feel how intimidating this guy is and how deadly he is as well, and all of his action sequences are just absolutely brilliant. We've also got Winston Duke in this movie as M'Baku. I do agree with everybody else, they definitely could have given him a lot more to do, but I do think, you know, given the fact that he is a secondary character, I would actually say that he has a lot more screen time than a lot of other characters. We've also got Danai Gurira returning once again as Okoye. We obviously know this character as she is the most well-known of the entire Dora Milaje, and she has got her own little mini arc in this movie, which is really, really cool. And once again, she is such a formidable fighter, and actually similarly to Letitia Wright, she has got some humorous moments in this movie as well, and you can really feel a lot of her emotional sequences in this movie. We've also got Lupita Nyong'o returning and reprising her role from the first Black Panther movie, and even though this movie has got a lot going on, this award-winning actress and character of Nakia does actually have a lot to do, whereas Michaela Coel was just so hyped up before we got to see this movie when she plays a character called Anika, and I just thought she would have done so much more given how hyped up she was. I mean, she was okay, but they definitely could have done so much more with that character. Dominique Thorne, though, by contrast, was an absolutely brilliant introduction. I thought Riri Williams was so good in this movie, and I know this character hasn't been that beloved in the comic books, but I have to say, in this movie, the way in which she was written was really, really good. She had some brilliant one-liners. I feel like she is continuing the Iron Man mantle really, really nicely, and she just fitted into the whole Wakandan world really, really nicely. All of her sequences with Shuri were really, really good. All of the sequences with Okoye were really, really cool too, and very similarly to Shuri, she is a true mastermind, so I feel like she was really adding a lot from a technology point of view and was just a really cool character, and another member that you know is also going to join the Young Avengers soon. We've also got Martin Freeman reprising his role once again, and there are so many cameos in this movie, which really is really, really wicked to see. And so from a casting characters point of view, even though some of them definitely could have done so much more, on the whole, I have to say they were really, really wicked in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So the visuals of Black Panther Wakanda Forever are honestly just so breathtaking. Firstly, it's so good to go back to Wakanda. I feel like they really do need to make Wakandan universe in Disney World. And it just looks so, so impressive. You can really tell that they've got such advanced technology, and you can see why the whole world is really envious of this and will try to get it at any cost. I do feel like the small glimpses of Talokan that you do get to see do look really, really cool. And I absolutely love Namor's history and just his power set is so, so cool. The way in which he can fly, the way in which he is such a threat on land, in air, and of course in water as well. I feel like this character is such a powerhouse, and all of the battle sequences that take place with all of the Talokans against all of the Wakandans are really, really brilliant, and you can really see what a threat this underwater universe and world of characters really are. I feel like all of the costumes for the most part do look really, really impressive too. I just wish we would have got a lot more of Talokan, and I just wish that final battle was just so much more epic, as it was really cool to see what you did see, but it was just so small scale that it was just a little bit ridiculous. But I have to say, on the whole, from a visuals point of view, Black Panther Wakanda Forever looks really, really impressive. So from a comparisons point of view, I feel like this movie really is the perfect example of how you do a sequel, as the second movie installments of a brilliant franchise sometimes can be quite hit or miss, but I have to say Wakanda Forever totally stepped up and delivered. I mean, out of the two Black Panther movies released so far, I do have a slight preference for the first film, but I have to say that is a little bit unfair to this one, given all of the circumstances that this movie was under. But that being said, I feel like it was also a truly emotional movie, and just really does pull on the heartstrings so, so well. I feel like from a Phase 4 perspective, I feel like this movie is pretty similar to Shang-Chi, but I don't think it's as good as Spider-Man No Way Home. So overall, I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I feel like it was such a brilliant and touching tribute to Chadwick Boseman, and it was just so nicely done across this movie, and just all of the little touches that they did at the start of this film and at the end of this film were just absolutely incredible. And the entire cast and crew, like I said before, totally put their best foot forward, and I just feel like it was so immersive. You're really with all of these different characters, you're literally feeling everything that they're going through, and just the spectacle and the cinematography that is taking place on screen just looks absolutely incredible and just sets a really exciting path forward. And I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next with all of these characters that you see in this movie. But as far as this movie is concerned, I have to give it a massive solid 8 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.